The National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, STs, is a special organization in India that is formed under the Constitution to safeguard the rights and interests of tribal communities. It was established by Article 338- of the Indian Constitution, which highlights the importance of protecting the unique cultural and social identities of scheduled tribes. Scheduled tribes refer to specific groups of people who have been recognized by the government due to their historical disadvantage and marginalized status in society. The National Commission for Scheduled Tribes plays a crucial role in ensuring that these communities receive appropriate representation and support in various aspects of governance and social development. Just like the National Commission for Scheduled Castes, the Commission for Scheduled Tribes acts as a watchdog to monitor the implementation of governmental policies and measures aimed at improving the welfare of tribal populations. The Commission's duties include investigating specific complaints regarding the violation of the rights of scheduled tribes, examining various laws and policies affecting these communities, and advising the government on measures needed for their betterment. The Constitution also includes several provisions to protect the rights of scheduled tribes. For instance, Articles 46 and 338- specifically focus on promoting the educational and economic interests of these communities. Article 46 states that the state shall promote the educational and economic interests of the weaker sections of society, particularly those belonging to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. This ensures that the government actively works to uplift these groups. Additionally, the Commission's mandate allows it to engage with various stakeholders, including tribal communities, governments, and civil society organizations. Through consultations and discussions, the Commission gathers information about the challenges faced by the tribal population. It then uses that information to recommend improvements and reforms that ensure greater inclusion and development of these communities. In summary, the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes is an essential constitutional body focused on the welfare of tribal populations in India. Established under Article 338- the Commission works to protect the rights and promote the interests of scheduled tribes while ensuring that their voices are heard in policymaking. The provisions of the Constitution underline the government's commitment to addressing historical injustices faced by these communities, making it a significant entity in the pursuit of social justice and equality in India. Separate Commission for Scheduled Tribes, STs. The National Commission for Scheduled Castes, SCs, and Scheduled Tribes, STs, was established following the 65th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1990. This commission was set up according to Article 338 of the Indian Constitution. Its main purpose is to keep an eye on the protections and rights that are provided to SCs and STs under the Constitution and other laws. It is important to recognize that SCs and STs are different in many ways. Geographically, culturally, and socially, the challenges faced by STs are distinct from those faced by SCs. To better address the specific needs of STs, a dedicated Ministry of Tribal Affairs was created in 1999. This ministry focuses on the welfare and development of STs, ensuring that their needs are prioritized. The need for a specific ministry stemmed from the realization that it would be difficult for the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment to manage the interests of both groups effectively. To further enhance the protection of STs, the Indian government decided to create a separate National Commission for STs. This was done by dividing the previous combined commission into two distinct bodies. The 89th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2003 was passed to facilitate this change, which not only updated Article 338 but also introduced a new Article 338- into the Constitution. The separate National Commission for STs formally came into existence in 2004. It is composed of various members, including a chairperson, a vice-chairperson, and 3 additional members. These individuals are appointed by the President of India, who issues a warrant under their hand and seal. The President also determines the terms of service and the length of time these members will serve. According to the regulations set by the President, the members of the Commission hold their positions for a term of 3 years. However, they cannot serve more than 2 consecutive terms, ensuring that there is a rotation and new perspectives are brought into the Commission over time. By establishing a separate National Commission, the Indian government aims to provide a more focused and effective approach to addressing the challenges faced by STs, allowing their unique needs to be addressed adequately. Articles 338 and 338- in the Indian Constitution emphasize the importance of such measures for safeguarding the rights and interests of vulnerable communities in India. Functions of the Commission for Scheduled Tribes in India. The Commission for Scheduled Tribes, STs, plays a crucial role in safeguarding the rights and welfare of tribal communities in India. Below are the main functions of this commission explained in simpler terms. One of the primary responsibilities of the commission is to investigate and keep an eye on all matters related to the constitutional and legal protections for scheduled tribes. This involves looking into how well these protections are working in practice. The Commission evaluates whether the laws meant to support STs are being followed and if they are effective. Another important function is to address specific complaints from individuals or groups about the loss of their rights. If an ST community feels that their rights are being neglected or violated, they can bring these issues to the Commission. This helps ensure that grievances are officially heard and acted upon. The Commission also takes part in the planning process for the social and economic development of scheduled tribes. It advises government bodies on how to improve the living conditions of STs and assesses how well development programs are working in both the central and state governments. Every year, the Commission prepares reports for the President of India outlining how well the protections and programs for STs are functioning. These reports can be presented at other times if necessary. Based on these findings, the Commission suggests what steps should be taken by the central or state governments to better implement protections and promote the welfare and development of STs. Additionally, the Commission may have other responsibilities that the President of India specifies. This includes providing recommendations on policies and programs that can help enhance the social, economic, and cultural conditions of scheduled tribes in India. In terms of legal backing, the functions of the Commission are supported by various articles in the Indian Constitution, particularly Articles 338 and 338A. Article 338 establishes the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, while Article 338 details the powers and functions of the Commission, emphasizing its role in protecting the rights and promoting the welfare of STs. The legal framework ensures that the Commission operates effectively, providing a vital check on the implementation of policies aimed at uplifting tribal communities. Overall, the Commission for Scheduled Tribes is an essential body that ensures the rights and interests of tribal populations are not overlooked in India's development agenda. Through its investigations, recommendations, and reports, the Commission plays a vital role in enhancing the socio-economic conditions of scheduled tribes, ensuring they are treated fairly and equally in society. In 2005, the President of India defined additional responsibilities for the Commission aimed at protecting, supporting, and promoting the well-being of scheduled tribes, STs. These functions focus on ensuring the rights and development of tribal communities, which are often marginalized and face various challenges. One important task is to ensure that tribal communities living in forested regions are given ownership rights to minor forest produce. This means that tribes should have legal rights to collect and sell natural products from the forests, enabling them to sustain their livelihoods better. Additionally, the Commission is responsible for safeguarding the rights of tribal groups concerning their access to natural resources like minerals and water. This is critical to ensure that these communities benefit from the resources available in their areas, as protected by laws such as the Forest Rights Act of 2006. Another key responsibility involves the development of tribal communities and creating effective livelihood strategies. This includes finding new, sustainable ways for these communities to earn a living, which can help reduce poverty and enhance their quality of life. Furthermore, the Commission is tasked with ensuring that relief and rehabilitation measures for tribes displaced by developmental projects are both effective and compassionate. This is particularly important because many tribal people lose their land and homes due to industrial projects, creating a need for supportive measures. The Commission also focuses on preventing the alienation of tribal people from their land. Alienation occurs when tribal groups lose their land rights, often leading to displacement and poverty. The Commission aims to rehabilitate those who have already lost their land due to unlawful or unfair practices. Additionally, the Commission seeks to engage tribal communities actively in the protection of forests and participation in social afforestation efforts. Their involvement is vital for the success of environmental preservation initiatives, especially since tribal communities have historically been the custodians of forest resources. Another significant responsibility outlined is to ensure the full implementation of the provisions of the Panchayats Extension to the Scheduled Areas Act of 1996. This law aims to enhance the democratic participation of tribal groups in local governance and decision-making processes, ensuring their voices are included in matters that affect their lives and communities. Lastly, the Commission works to eliminate the practice of shifting cultivation, which can degrade land and contribute to disempowerment among tribal groups. Shifting cultivation, often referred to as slash-and-burn agriculture, not only affects the soil quality but also disrupts the ecobalance, making it harder for tribal communities to sustain themselves over time. These functions of the Commission are in line with various articles in the Indian Constitution, including Article 46, which promotes the educational and economic interests of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other weaker sections of society. The government's focus on these responsibilities underscores its commitment to uplift tribal communities, helping them secure their rights and improve their livelihoods while preserving their rich cultural heritage. The Commission, which plays an important role in India's governance, is required to present an annual report to the President of India. This report contains information and suggestions about various issues that the Commission addresses throughout the year. In addition to the annual report, the Commission has the authority to submit reports whenever it feels it is necessary. This means that if there are urgent matters or situations that need immediate attention, the Commission can act quickly and inform the President and the Parliament. Once the President receives these reports, it is their responsibility to present them to the Parliament. Along with the reports, the President must provide a memorandum that explains what actions have been taken based on the recommendations made by the Commission. This is important because it keeps the Parliament informed about the government's actions in response to the Commission's suggestions. Moreover, if any recommendations are not accepted, the memorandum must include reasons for that decision. This level of transparency helps in understanding the government's stance and encourages accountability. Furthermore, if a report from the Commission relates to a specific state government, the President forwards that report to the governor of the respective state. The governor is then required to present it before the state legislature along with their own memorandum explaining the actions taken in relation to the recommendations. Just like at the national level, this memorandum must also include reasons for rejecting any of the recommendations, if applicable. This system ensures that both the central and state governments maintain a clear communication channel regarding the issues highlighted by the Commission. In the context of Indian constitutional provisions, these processes are tied to Article 280, which establishes the Finance Commission and outlines its duties. Although the primary focus is on financial matters, the principles of accountability, transparency, and responsiveness to recommendations can be applied to many other commissions and bodies established under various articles of the Indian Constitution. The process of reporting and explaining actions reinforces the democratic principles of the country, ensuring that citizens are aware of how their governments are responding to important issues. In summary, the reporting mechanism between the Commission, the President, and the respective legislatures is crucial for maintaining a responsive and accountable governance system in India. By ensuring that there is a clear process for accepting or rejecting recommendations, both at the national and state levels, it promotes good governance and encourages ongoing dialogue about important issues affecting the country and its citizens. Powers of the Commission. The Commission, which has a significant role in addressing issues related to scheduled tribes, STs, in India, is granted the authority to set its own procedures. This means that the Commission can outline how it operates and conducts its investigations or inquiries into complaints. When the Commission investigates any matter or looks into any complaints, it has special powers similar to those of a civil court. This means it can perform a range of important tasks to ensure that it can do its job effectively. Some of these powers include: firstly, the Commission can summon any person from anywhere in India to come and give evidence. This person is required to provide their testimony under oath, which means they must tell the truth, just like in a court of law. Secondly, the Commission can ask for the discovery and production of documents that are important for its investigation. This power allows the Commission to collect the necessary paperwork that can help in understanding the case better. Additionally, the Commission is allowed to receive evidence through affidavits. An affidavit is a written statement made under oath, which can be an important way to gather information. Furthermore, the Commission can requisition public records from any court or office. This means it can ask these institutions to provide documents or information that are relevant to its inquiries. The Commission can also issue summons for the examination of witnesses and documents, ensuring that all relevant information is considered during its investigations. Moreover, the Commission has been given the authority to address any other matters as determined by the President of India. This provides an additional layer of power and flexibility to the Commission in carrying out its duties. According to Article 338 of the Indian Constitution, the central government and state governments must consult the Commission on all major policy matters that affect scheduled tribes. This requirement emphasizes the importance of the Commission in the decision-making process concerning the rights and welfare of STs in India. In conclusion, the powers of the Commission are comprehensive and vital for protecting the interests of scheduled tribes in India. These powers enable it to operate with authority, ensuring that the rights of these marginalized communities are upheld and that their voices are heard in matters that affect their lives.